All right. Welcome to season 2, ep7, we believe, of the D&D show, the Dan and Drew show,
Yeah, here on the podcast.
here on the podcast. I don't know. I think we could just talk about our weekends because you went to the Grateful Dead last set of
I
shows.
did.
I saw the Tragically Hip, my favorite band.
Oh wow!
So
Look
I
at
mean,
that.
we could just talk about that for now and see what happens. So talk to me about you went to the Grateful Dead at Soldier Field.
Yeah, the final shows, the Fare Thee Well shows.
You just went to the first one, right?
I did go. I
Okay.
went only to Friday. It
Ha-
was a blast, man.
I
It was
believe
an
it.
absolute blast. I can't even say enough. There were so many things
I-
that happened that
That's what I'm saying. Tell me about it. So
the
I saw.
lot was packed.
I believe it.
Packed. I mean, 70,000 people. They say were in there. There were more like 80.
It looked. Someone posted a picture who went to the show, and it looked like it was shoulder to shoulder the entire length of the football field.
Oh yeah.
And that looked so claustrophobic to me.
Oh yeah.
Or sweaty.
Oh
or,
yeah. For sure, it was. But those people would.
Oh, it was great.
I was not on the floor. I was with people that got on the floor
Mhm.
that did not have tickets. So I mean, there was plenty of people down there that were just roaming. Right.
I know a lot of people snuck in. A friend of mine posted
yeah.
on Facebook. She snuck in with her cousin. Like everybody's sneaking in.
Yeah.
How
I
is
paid
this?
$100
Okay.
for the show. I'm happy to pay that actually.
Yeah.
For a seat in dancing room and get my groove on. But yes, there were tons of people, like 10,000 people that snuck in.
I believe it.
10,000.
How do they do that? What are they doing? How do you think?
Well, there's a lot of ways that it went down. I mean, because the bouncers and everybody at the venue knew that this was like a huge deal
Right.
for the band and everybody else. And I'm sure that the band was like, "Yeah, let everybody in." I did not have anything searched on me. I just walked in. They scanned my ticket and they walked in. But there were people that had doors from the Soldier Field out that were just letting people in for like. I mean, I
That's
know
sweet.
of $100 that just had exchanged hands
Okay.
to let somebody in, but I'm sure that for
If you-
hot girls, they just walked right in.
If you can just grease a bouncer, that's cool too.
Oh man,
I was wondering if they didn't search people because they knew, like, dude, everybody here smokes weed. Just don't search people.
Oh yeah, this is true. This is cloud of smoke. Clouds.
Was it clouds of smoke?
Clouds of smoke. Clouds of
Oh
smoke.
man.
My seat was if you're looking at the stage,
Yeah.
to the right of the stage, right off to the side. And the coolest part was seeing the lighting of the crowd. The
Mhm.
lighting on the crowd was unbelievable. Very, very cool.
A friend of mine had like that vantage point on Facebook, so I got to see those kind of pictures. That
Yeah.
looked cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great show. Trey killed it.
I
he
heard
put
him.
on a lesson. He put on lessons.
Sirius Radio on the Grateful Dead channel, they simulcast it,
Yeah.
or whatever, they broadcast
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
So when I was driving back from the Hip show, I got to hear them on the way back.
That's great.
And then on the second night, I got to hear the whole. I listened to the whole second set.
Yeah. Oh, it was a fun time. It was a fun time. Only thing I wish I got to spend more time with my friends that came in from Ohio.
Mm.
It was a good time. Saturday morning, I went disc golfing.
July 4th. Okay.
July 4th.
Disc golfing. Where?
Disc golfing, Joliet.
Wow. Oh, so you had to drive out there.
Way out there. And I am a human pinata. Is that right? No. I'm not filled with candy or anything like
Yeah,
that.
whatever. I got
I
it. I have emotion.
crazy stung by mosquitoes. Is what I'm saying.
Pinata full of bees.
Is it
Okay.
being full of bees? Is it something with your blood that mosquitoes like? Is there
The scent maybe that you
the
give
scent
off
of your
or
skin?
if you're
Yeah,
sweating.
Yeah. The sweating. Yeah, it's outside, hot, throwing discs around.
Yeah.
Arms a little sore.
Moisture.
Arms a little sore from throwing some diskies.
It's funny. I saw my brother, sister, and I on July 4th. We went to see the Tragically Hip in Canandaigua, New York.
Yeah.
We had the having a blast. Yes, had by all. But the opposite of packed. It was the biggest venue I've seen the Hip at, where there was the least amount of people.
Okay.
So it's basically, I don't know what's around here, but back home we have something called Art Park. It's everybody graduates there, and it's a nice amphitheater.
Okay.
So it's So basically, the whole last section of seats, the entire sections, were not even sold. I don't know if it's July 4th or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's probably that too.
And so there's the grass section, and we could have upgraded for free. And we said, well, we're going to still stay in the grass. We went in the grass, and it was like being in your backyard, sort of, that you had this whole open air.
Yeah.
My sis brought a blanket, put it down. No one was near us. And we watched our favorite band, Dead Ahead, and great sound. There was, the sunset was going down behind the venue.
Yeah.
There's fireworks going on in Canandaigua Park. But no one was near me. You couldn't hear anyone talking, even during a song. I heard nothing but the band. Even my sister went to the bathroom. I mean, you could go to the bathroom and back in one song.
Yeah, that's great.
It was great. So we
That
had
is
the
really
most
cool.
comfortable, most relaxing. We were driving in. You get off the I-90 and you're going through the small town of Canandaigua.
Okay.
At no point was there a backup of traffic, and there was no traffic. In fact, we didn't even know we were getting to the venue until we were there. And then there was no one. Like it was the only concert I've been to where there was no traffic. Like we pulled in like we were going to the Walmart.
Yeah, I don't go to those.
It was, but it was a parking lot that was 1/4, not even half full. It was like 1/4 full.
I need people to enjoy my shows with.
We had a great. No, I had my brother and sister with me.
What was the song I would know by the hip?
Oh man,
I'm not familiar with the hip.
I know. I mean, and I said they're the Beatles or the Rolling Stones of Canada, and New Orleans is Sinking is a great. I should just start. If we could post them on here, it'd be easy. New Orleans is Sinking is a big one. Grace 2, Fireworks is like I heard. Even it's a newer song. It's called Coffee Girl. That was on like Sirius Radio on.
I just did the hip.
Yeah.
On a Google search and
Okay.
nothing came up.
I guess you have to put
Damn.
Tragically Hip. I guess.
Oh, the Tragically Hip.
It's called the Tragically Hip, but if you put the hip, thehip.com is their website. They're our favorite band. It's like my 55th show. So for us, it's like sort of our Grateful Dead. And even when we said it last week when we were doing the show, I knew you were going to Grateful Dead. We were going to the Hip. So
okay, band since 1983.
Mhm.
Tragically Hip.
The first album was 87. 89 was Up to Here. Then you got Road Apples and Fully Completely. This was the Fully Completely tour. They played the entire Fully Completely album end to end.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
These guys are like the age of Trey.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
It's pretty. And for me, I love this band because there's no radio hits for me. Like
Okay.
every single song, sort of like the Grateful Dead. Every single song, you want to hear every single song in concert.
Here's a cool fact: 9 of their albums have reached #1 in Canada.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, they're the Hip. You know what I'm saying? They're Tragically Hip.
What's their? Is it hard rock? Is it?
It's rock, alternative rock. There's there's so many bootlegs too. In the older days, people would have a crap load of bootlegs, and the people saying they were the Pearl Jam of Canada. So he's at a concert once. He goes, "Pearl Jam is the Pearl Jam of Canada." So they said that they're the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, but they sound like the Rolling Stones, I guess, or not even. But someone called them the REM of Canada.
So they were on Saturday Night Live.
They were. Dan Aykroyd was the host.
Yeah.
And Dan Aykroyd's from Kingston, Ontario, where the Tragically Hip is from.
Yeah.
So I love that because he brought them in there. And then he sang Grace 2. They sang Grace 2. And I believe So Hard Done By or Nautical Disaster. But it was for the Day for Night tour. And that was the first year I saw my first Hip show, too.
Okay.
So 1995 was my first Hip show.
I feel like I'm now well versed in the Hip.
Oh, and when you start listening, you'll be like, oh, man.
Do they do any jams, like extended instrumental jams?
They used to in the older days.
Okay.
But it'd be more like they'd go off and Gord Downey, the lead singer, he would just jam. He would improvise stuff, just verses, or he would improvise jam. Just they'd have a whole breakdown. I wish we could play it because I'm not sure about copyrights. You can look up New Orleans is Sinking Killer Whale Tank. So there'd be this breakdown in the middle of the sing, and they would just go long as they could see him. I could see, the band would just play, and they could see him going off. Like, okay, we're just gonna let him go until he's ready. And then when he says a certain line that brings us back in,
Gotcha.
We're just gonna keep jamming. So he had this whole thing on. He used to work in a Killer Whale Tank, and it's just in the Hip culture, it is infamous. And there's 2 major jams like that. The other one's Highway Girl from the first album, which they've never played a first album song since I've seen them.
Okay, here's one. Their last album was 3 years ago.
Now for Plan A.
Yeah. So are they coming with a new one?
They tour all the time. I think they used to put them out every other year. And I'm telling you, the Hip's just so great.
I just hear like a pop band instead of a rock band with the name The Tragically Hip.
They're rock as rock can be, my man.
I saw a trailer for a movie that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's about French techno in the underground scene in the early 90s.
Okay.
And the writers wrote in Daft Punk. They wrote them into scenes that the movie kind of revolves around.
Okay.
And it's like the first time they ever play a certain song live, and like they just are like transient through the movie, which is kind of cool.
This was a movie made in the 90s or made now about the 90s?
made now about the early
Okay.
90s.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I could talk about the Tragically Hip though all day.
Yeah. We won't do that.
No, we won't.
I could talk about that Dead show all day.
I know. I sort of want.
Trey can play with anybody.
Yeah.
He can play with anybody. He can do anything.
Yeah.
He is so musically talented.
Why did they put the show now? Why did they do it? Was the 50th anniversary, or they wanted to get together just for 3 shows?
The last show that they did was in Soldier Field in 1995.
I did not know this.
20 years ago.
Got it.
The last show that Jerry played before he died was at Soldier Field.
Got it.
On July 4th weekend, I think.
I know about a week later or so they're supposed to play in Buffalo, and they didn't get and they got canceled, obviously, because Jerry had passed away.
Yeah.
Did not know. So that was the reason to put it there.
Yeah.
Cool. And they just wanted
it was centrally located.
And they wanted to do it 20 years later, or the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, it just all kind of came together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know there was a specific reason.
Bobby Weir is the front man. He's the number 2 guitar player. He was a freaking control freak. There was a solo that Trey was playing, and Bobby like waved him off, like of the solo, and like stopped the song and then went into the next one.
Like on the show?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. There were a couple of those instances throughout the week that they played. They played the week before in Santa Clara.
Did they happen at Soldier Field? You mean, or at Santa Clara?
It happened in both places.
Oh
yeah. I saw it twice.
And Trey was just like, "Cool, I'll not play that."
Yeah. Well, I mean, Trey had 2 things. He had one camp that was saying, "Dude, do your thing, thing,"
right.
And bring them all up, and he did. He totally did that. And then the other camp was in Bobby Weir's spot. It's like, play like Jerry, like Jerry. So there were 2 different camps, and the last night was hysterical because Bob Weir actually came out with a shirt that said "Let Trey sing." Because he didn't sing many verses throughout the entire weekend, and there was stickers all around that said "Let Trey sing," and it was so funny that Bobby Weir was wearing a "Let Trey sing" shirt. It's just so funny.
So he seemed like he was a control freak. He's like, "Hey, even I know to let this kid go do his thing."
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that they brought him in for more of a passing of the torch.
Gotcha.
Like
it sounded like that to me.
Yeah, that's what it was.
As a passive whatever. I don't want to say I'm a fan.
I missed my 2 favorites. They weren't played the night I went, but there were 2 songs that I love. Scarlet Begonias into Fire on the Mountain. Just fantastic.
They did it on night 3, right?
Yeah.
Because we were driving home, and my sis is a huge fan.
Yeah.
And so we're
they did it on night 1.
Okay, we were driving. She was like, "Well, they usually do this into this into this." And there's a
China Rider.
Yes, that's the one. And she was like,
Rider.
"Ba ba 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 ba." I'm like, "Hold it." She was saying stuff. I'm like, "Wow, you know stuff."
I missed China Rider.
Got it.
Oh man, I was watching the Women's World Cup final.
Yep.
And I was watching the very end, like as they took the trophy. And I missed the first 2 songs, 2 of my favorite songs from the Grateful Dead.
Wait, what do you mean miss? How did you miss them?
I watched it down at the bar. The bar was live streaming all nights.
Okay. Oh, here. And then did you come up here to listen to the show, live stream the show?
No, they had the live show. I was watching the World Cup up here.
Yeah.
So I was watching the end of the World Cup. After the World Cup was over, I went downstairs
to the
and
bar.
Missed the first 2 songs.
Okay, so they were live streaming. That's sweet.
Yeah,
the bar was doing
it was great. Oh, this is a Dead bar.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's perfect.
And everybody I saw, and now, I mean, I don't even think about merchandising, but every single person I saw, like on the news, had a Grateful Dead 50th or Farewell to Thee or whatever.
Yeah,
Fare Thee Well.
Yeah.
So I mean, they must have just made a killing on merchandise.
Killing. But the thing with the Dead is that people make their own merchandise and sell their own merchandise with the likeness.
I'm not even accusing them of that. It's cool that everybody could have the 50th or Fare Thee Well shirt, so everybody knows that that's the event.
Oh yeah,
they were at. That's moment in time.
Man, this has been a great year. I went to Game 3 of the Stanley Cup. They lost. I went to the Grateful Dead shows, summer camp. Awesome.
You're doing okay.
It's enjoyable.
I saw 3 hip shows. This year.
This is 3 hip shows. That's
I saw
really good.
2 at House of Blues. So House of Blues is fully completely tour. So we saw back-to-back shows. My sister and brother came in for that.
That's awesome.
And we saw it down at House of Blues. And then so me and my sister, my brother and sister again, we went. I went home and then we went and did that.
I picked this up this week. This is a drum machine.
Okay.
An Alexis alias drum machine.
Looks wonderful.
So I was playing with this thing, and all the drum patterns became so repetitive. So I went. I got this. This is like a demo.
Yeah.
This was on like a display case.
Okay.
Picked it up for like $50.
Where'd you get it at?
Online.
Okay.
Amazon.
That's pretty cool. Look at you.
Trying to get all.
I want to. Yeah, I'd love to just keep recording music. I just want to do everything,
How's your musical improv group doing?
It's good. We have like 2 more weeks, and then so this Thursday, so in 2 days, because today's Tuesday, I'm gonna like be it's the first time I get to run an audition, help run an audition,
Okay,
and be
okay.
on the other side for the first time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I get to be a coach for this musical improv night. It's called Mint. It's on Wednesday nights.
Yeah,
at
yeah. MCL.
MCL.
Nice, that's
Just
awesome.
for the viewers. Yeah, so it's on Barry
All
and
the
Sheffield.
comedy viewers out there that love
Yeah.
Chicago. MCL is a great theater. I
Yeah.
like. It's really come up.
Oh, it has. And the Mint night for me, that has unified. I mean, it has given everybody a place to go and a voice and new teams to be had.
Do you ever see Abby there?
Oh, Abby Vetera.
Yeah, Vetera.
I mean, yeah,
she's a talented singer.
She was on
Holy crap.
She was on my first team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Abby,
yeah.
Oh, if we want to talk up and coming Chicago
Yeah.
comedians, that girl is going to be at the top of the list.
I have an improv group called Buffalo, and we were at one point talking about adding new members, and our first on the list is Abby.
Yeah,
and I asked her, and she said she would. So I was like,
Abby does like so many things.
I just want
so many things.
I know.
Yeah,
and sometimes where it does, like I have to ask people because man, you're doing 20 things.
Yeah,
just most people now.
Yeah, no, well, you have to.
I know.
To get your experience, like everyone wants to get that 10,000 hours, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to get that 10,000 hours of laughs, and the best way to do it is just be performing every night.
Yeah. I think it's all about, for me, it's all about hanging out with people. Sometimes I don't even care about the shows.
Yeah.
Because if you're hanging out with people, now it's like I've done this thing for 4 months with this group, and it's funny because the coach sort of picked an older group of people. Like the median age is way older than usually the teams are, which is great. And so I can relate so much to everybody on my team, and we've all become really close, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's great.
You know? And so, but the last team too, anytime you're hanging out and you're sort of forced to be together, you just bond that way, just alone, you know?
Yeah.
And then now we get to do it again. And it'll be weird now. It's weird. I know I have like an authority figure complex where like I always got to challenge the authority person, or I look at them like, oh, you're my coach, so I can't really, hang out with his friends. So
I get that with my employees. They don't want to hang out with me.
Yeah, so now it's like, oh, I'm going to be the coach. So they're going to look at me like, like a coach guy or like just the normal me. I'm like, guys, let's just do this. And
yeah,
I didn't even know how it's going to go. But today, what do we got?
I miss doing shows every night.
Yeah.
When I was at IO in Wrigleyville, I was doing shows like 5 nights a week.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
At IO?
No, not at IO.
Down at, I know when you were doing the improv jam stuff.
Yeah.
Like Nisei Lounge and stuff.
Nisei Lounge, the Underground Lounge. I did MCL a few times, Playground. I liked performing at IO when it was over there. It felt a little bit more underground.
I got you.
Than it does over there.
I could probably even do. It's not. It sounds weird, but I want to have like you can have different nights sometimes, like different. So I could have like, or there's always a piano, but I could bring a guitar. You could like do guitar stuff with with the whole Mint group.
I talked to Mint when I was living in Wrigleyville to do the musical backing, and that's kind of how Jamprov started.
Yeah,
Jamprov's playing with the Bastards now at IO.
Oh yeah.
I haven't played with them in forever.
The Bastards, you have?
Yeah. No, Jamprov. Jamprov was my band.
Oh yeah, I know that. I remember that.
Jamprov was my jam.
Did you play with the Bastards at the?
I did.
Okay,
I did all of last year, and then it became wintertime, and I didn't want to lug any electrical equipment in the winter.
Got it.
And since it's started again, I haven't gone back.
But you can go back probably whenever you want, maybe.
I think so. Andy's kind of being a little standoffish.
Oh, I don't know who Andy is.
Musical guy.
Okay. Because I'd like to, because I see my other friend who does it. My friend Natalie does that. I'm like, hey man, it's always about getting an in with somebody to like, get accepted.
Yeah,
I'd like to do that too.
Yeah,
just as the improviser part or whatever.
Well, Dave Escher should have been your into IO.
Yeah, I mean he's still there.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with that. Still waiting, gang.
Still waiting.
It's weird. I feel like one of those hockey, like there's a guy in the Sabres once. This guy got traded. He played with them in like the 80s or something. He got like 11, 12 years later, he got traded back to the Sabres, and then he scored a goal. So like he had the record for longest between having a goal with the same team.
Yeah.
So right now, like I was on a team at IO now over 3 years ago, and I've still been trying to get in. But along the way, a lot of other stuff's been going on. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm still working at it.
Yeah.
Don't get trying to get jaded about it. I always say that's good advice you always hear by different people. Just don't be jaded by it. Yeah. But now with Mint, like, oh, there's a whole new teams going on with Mint. And then Annoyance Theaters opened up, and that's huge. I mean, that at Belmont and Clark.
Yeah.
And we got to run there for 5 months, and we can go back and I'll put in later on in the fall.
I want to do a musical thing at Annoyance.
I know that space is so great.
Oh, I love
that. Is like more personal. Like IO on Clark was great.
Do you ever play short form games like Comedy Sports?
Not with that group, but I do. Yes. Oh, I do Skinprov on Saturday nights at IO. At midnight. Yeah. And I got to do like 6, 7 shows so far.
You play at IO through Skinprov?
Annoyance Skin Proud.
Oh, okay.
But they do short form games. I
Yeah.
did comedy sports for 10 years, so I can do short form games. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if there was a thing that you had or whatever. I've never seen the Bastards at midnight.
Underground. Yeah.
I don't know what they do. I don't know what their deal is. Do they sing stuff?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever getting in, or if you want to go, if you go back, say hey, blah blah blah, and hey, can I bring this guy in?
Yeah.
And I know people in the group, so I don't. It wouldn't be like I'd be like, some virus being.
Do you know Warren Phoenix Johnson?
I know him a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he sort of runs it.
He runs it.
Yeah.
Talk to him.
Okay. I'm gonna walk in with you and.
Nope, not happening.
Okay.
I'm
just gonna
cowardly
okay.
park in the back and sheepishly walk in backwards.
Right. You should do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Andy, give me a call, buddy.
Yep. When he watches this podcast right here.
When he listens to this every other week.
Yeah. So I thought we'd talk more personal stuff this week about our lives.
I think we
which
covered
we
it.
Should.
Yeah, 4th of July, man.
That was just this weekend, right? I flew home, and I did. I had it was one of my more relaxing trips home. I went home, and then Friday I had like 5 hours to kill before we were gonna have dinner. So I went to Canada and visited my grandma and my aunt and uncle.
Ah.
But my grandma's always had these pictures. It's like less than 100 pictures, but no one has these pictures. And I want to scan them in the computer to give to everybody. So she finally let me use them. So I still had time. So I scanned them all, brought them back to her. But now I have all like my grandma's and grandpa's pictures now saved. And I got to
I'm really happy you did that.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I did that for my grandpa and grandma's on my dad's side like 10 years ago. So I've been asking my grandma like, 6-7 times, come on, let me have them.
Yeah, I need to tell my dad to do that.
Yeah.
So he loves photography, and yet we have so many old photo books. I bet none of those are digital.
So I made them digital this weekend, which was great. And then I had the hip show Sunday. My friend came over and we watched, the World Cup.
Yeah.
And with the U.S. won 5-2.
It was holy crap.
Yeah.
First
4
20
goals.
minutes. First 20 minutes of that thing was amazing.
I know.
Amazing.
And
and you didn't think they were ever gonna stop.
It was 4-0, and then you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because last year there was a World Cup. The guy, I think Germany versus whoever, and it was like 9-2 or something.
It was Germany versus Argentina,
and it was a rout.
That was Brazil. Brazil got whooped like 6-1 or 7-1.
I was at the airport watching it, like, because I was oh man, I'm gonna miss this, and it was like 6-7-1 at one point.
Yeah. Germany shit the bed, or Brazil shit the bed last year.
Yeah. We're good here. We did good stuff. That was our weekend. This is July 4th, 2015 weekend. The Grateful Dead. Tragically Hip.
Gay marriage is now legal.
Oh, absolutely.
That happened since
I think we talked about it last week.
Oh, did we? Okay.
That was the last episode was all the Supreme Court decisions.
that had just happened that day.
It just happened.
That's right. Okay.
So everything's happening.
No news there.
Everything good is happening. Everything's coming up roses for us. My next concert, I don't know what my next one is. I don't have it lined up. Do you got one?
My next show, I think that there's a 311 show at the end of August that I'm planning on going to. But there's also, what, you're going to laugh at my 311?
No, I have nothing lined up.
I'd like to go see North Coast.
Okay.
Go to the North Coast Music Festival. Widespread Panic, the Disco Biscuits, Atmosphere. Some really cool music there. I love music, man. Drum machines and all. We love music, man. And we love you. We love you guys. Thanks for listening if you are. So for this until now, this is Dan and Drew, the Drew and Dan and Drew show on the podcast.